Hi, I'm Mike Hogue, Lily House Permaculture. If you're feeling frustrated with the world, worn down by all the negative energy out there, and you're looking for something positive you can do to take action, then the perspective of permaculture has been very helpful for me, and maybe it'll be useful for you too. Lately I've seen a few terrific articles about things you can do to take action, but all of those have focused on politics and activism. I haven't seen anything that's really focused on how we can put our positive energy to work for us. And permaculture might be the perfect way to start doing that, since it was actually created by two Australians, Bill Mollison and David Holmgren, who were looking for exactly that, a positive, non-political way that they could take action to build a more just, sustainable world that also honored and cared for the natural world around us as well. I know a lot of people out there right now are feeling really worn out by a long election cycle, but they don't want to feel like they're giving up, because in such an outrageous world, it feels apathetic or privileged or downright terrible to stop being outraged. But if we want to do more than just be outraged, if we want to be skillful and effective, then it means something for us to take the time to be compassionate with ourselves. If you look at the kind of state that Sun Tzu wanted to create in his political enemies in order to defeat them, being stressed out and divided and worried all the time and starved, this is exactly what a lot of us are doing to ourselves right now, only we're the ones doing it. We can find a balance that embraces righteous anger and legitimizes rational fear, but recognizes that a place of anger, fear, and stress are not a conducive peak state for getting anything done, let alone creating a better society. And in the meantime, a society flooded with stress and negativity is good for no one, especially not marginalized populations already dealing with stress and fear. So in addition to politics, permaculture teaches us that we can put our energy into creating a better world while we create a better lives for ourselves, so that we'll be stronger when it comes time to fight. So again, I'm not saying that politics isn't worth doing, or that people shouldn't vote or anything like that. I'm just saying that from a permaculture perspective, we should also invest long-term into building the kind of world we want to see outside of the political system. In fact, if we want to build a better world, politics alone is not enough. Consider this. First, analytical studies and statistical analysis have demonstrated for decades that the political activities of most voters have no measurable impact on society. Only a very small percentage of high-earning Americans have much of an impact at all. Two, political struggle only affects the current systems we use to meet our needs, but many of these are already failing us, or they were unjust to begin with and not really worth saving. Most are considered unsustainable by experts from within those systems, which doesn't mean they're bad for dolphins and monarch butterflies. It means they literally cannot continue to exist into the future. So instead of putting our energy into systems that are bound to fail soon, we should invest our energy into building the new systems to meet our needs and new economies for the future. And third, starting with Aristotle and continuing on through the founders of our modern democracies, Republican forms of government were intended to slow down change and stop revolution, not facilitate it. The structures of modern government, such as separations of power and bicameral legislatures, things like this were actually intended to siphon off revolutionary energy and bind it up into the cogs of a slowly changing system. Consider the game of tug-of-war. It's one of those counter-change mechanisms built right into our modern democracies. When our side puts its energy into getting political accomplishments done, it very so often happens that in the next election cycle, the other guys come through and undo everything that we've got done. So instead of putting our energy into something like this that's only going to be undone, permaculture teaches us how we can invest in permanent, durable infrastructure for a better world. So here are some positive, powerful, transformative actions from the world of permaculture that you can put to work in your life today and begin learning about make yourself a more beautiful life and a more just and sustainable world. 1, build broad, diverse communities of support for yourself. Truly resilient, dynamic, beautiful communities are based on need and interconnectedness. People who rely on each other. So ask yourself, what is it that you need? And then figure out who it is in your community you can get it from. And if you can't find that person, maybe it's you. 2, ask people for help. Everyone thinks that it's doing things for people that is the key to building social capital. But actually, research has shown that asking people for help and them being appreciative of them can be even more powerful. 3, grow some shit. If permaculturist Ron Finley can do it in land-starved and concrete-covered LA, then we can all do it everywhere. According to the US government, our food system is the #1 cause of climate change, the #1 user of fossil fuel, the #1 cause of soil loss, habitat destruction, and deforestation. Our unhealthy food system is a major cause of disease, malnutrition, and starvation. But we can start withdrawing our support for this insane sociopathic system by growing some of our own food, or supporting the people who are growing it in our communities. 4, consider a home energy retrofit. If you do this smart, then you can actually save money while saving the environment at the same time. And then you can go and teach other people in your community to also save money. 5, learn something new. Commit to learning something that'll make you stronger and your community better off. If you don't know what that is, ask around and find what people in your community need. Everyone always follows and learns what the new cool thing is, but you could be the person to make it cool. And as permaculture founder Bill Mollison said, the greatest change we need to make is from consumption to production, even if on a small scale in our own gardens. If only 10% of us can do this, there's enough for everyone. 6, make some art. Here's another Bill Mollison quote for you. It is through art, music, dance, and poetry that ecological knowledge is passed from one generation to the next. You think you can change minds by bashing skulls? Think again. As my buddy, permaculturist Josh Schultz, reminded me recently, whenever we do permaculture, if we want to make a permanent culture, we can't forget the culture. 7, reconnect with nature. As Bill Mollison said, wealth is a true understanding of the natural world. Nature and our connection with it is something that we can really use to make our communities stronger. So go out and learn nature and then share the wisdom that she's taught you with people in your community. 8, love. But not the cheesy hippie kind. No way. If you haven't figured it out by now, real love is hard. I've been sharing all the love trumps hate memes on social media, but I have to ask myself, have I tried to love President-elect Trump or his supporters or followers? Hell no. It's way more fun to try to marginalize them and make them out to be the bad guys. Look, I like to think that my inclusive liberal values make me a superior person, but they don't. They are superior values, but thinking they make me superior just makes me an asshole. And 9, invest in your own spiritual capital. Find ways to set aside time to quiet your mind, be more relaxed, and more compassionate. This is something we can all do, regardless of our spiritual traditions, even the most devout atheists. And the science even tells us that this is one of the most powerful things we can do to be more effective as people as well. So if you need to find a way right now to start regenerating yourself while you regenerate society, take a look into some of these ideas. And if you feel motivated to learn more about permaculture, that's great. Permaculture is one of the best ways, I personally believe, that we can build a more beautiful life for ourselves. At the same time, we're building a more just and sustainable society. Thanks for watching.